Hi, I'm Dr. Tieche from Recharge Clinic, and I wanted to give you a tip of the day. Today we're going to talk about vitamin D and the importance of vitamin D. It's one of the labs and one of the vitamins that we check on every person's blood panel when they first come here. Why do we do that? Why do we single out vitamin D of all of them? Well, vitamin D is an incredibly powerful antioxidant, so it helps fight off lots of diseases and illnesses, and it really fights what's called oxidative stress and these things that are called free radicals. They're stuff that is in our environment, in our foods, that attack our cells and actually help break down the DNA and help disrupt mitochondria. So vitamin D is very important in fighting that off. So that's why vitamin D is so important. It also, secondly, supports our immune system, really powerfully boosts it and helps fight off a lot of stuff. In fact, recently, people who were experienced or exposed to COVID who had low vitamin Ds did much more poorly, even in the hospital, than people who had normal or elevated vitamin Ds. Those people did much better. And in fact, many of them were didn't even have a response to it. In other words, it had some protective effects for them. So how do we get vitamin D? Well, traditionally in the past, most of the vitamin D we got was through our skin and was from sun exposure. That's because most of the time in years gone by, we spent most of our time outside working and doing stuff and recreating outside. But now as we've become more indoors and sedentary and now worried about our skin with skin cancer and wrinkles, we don't get as much sun exposure. And so that's a big problem. The average person needs about 2,000 to 4,000 units of vitamin D a day. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Being in the sun for 2 complete hours, say in a bathing suit, will give you about 2,000 to 3,000 units of vitamin D. To put it in perspective, a glass of milk will only give you about 100 units of vitamin D. So it's relatively not much, even though most people think of that as a good source of vitamin D. So typically, the average person, to be able to move their vitamin D level up is really has to take a vitamin D supplement. And generally, we recommend someone takes about 5,000 units a day. It sounds like a lot of units, but it's not. When you think about that, the average person uses 2 to 4 per day just to cover that and then move it up a bit. Our target number with that is 60. That's the number of vitamin D that we want in your blood. You know, most people we see are either in the high teens or low 20s. And these are all people that live in Florida and have good tans. So it's very important. There were some studies that show vitamin D levels in that upper range, around 60. Certain chronic diseases and cancers were cut in half just by having that level there. So we know it's very important. You're not going to feel much different having an elevated vitamin D compared to a low one. Although if it gets very, very low, some people do experience depression, but that's in very low levels. So it's something that I wanted to talk about and remind people that is a very important part of your health and that most people should be on a vitamin D supplement.